Hello there, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Let's tap into the energy around your connection and the person you're focused on and see what Spirit wants to reveal today. As always, keep what resonates with your heart and release anything that isn't meant for you. All right, Cancer, let's get into your reading. All right, the message that I have for you today is this, and it hits different from the start. The game is officially over for them, and an exposing text is headed straight toward your phone. Everything they kept locked away is about to spill open, and you are receiving all of it. This message reveals how the entire story began between you and exactly how it is going to end. The weight behind this reading is intense because the truth has been building pressure for far too long. Whatever walls they constructed around their secrets are collapsing now, and nothing can hold it back anymore. You might already sense that something major is approaching. A shift you cannot quite name but feel deeply. The cards picked up on this energy immediately, and every single pull confirmed what the message declared. Let us go ahead and dive into this because the cards are not holding anything back today. The first card for this reading is the Tower, and it shook the entire spread when it landed. The Tower represents sudden dramatic revelation, the kind that dismantles every illusion built around this connection. Foundations that were held together by silence are cracking wide open, and the collapse brings raw exposure. This card confirms the text heading your way carries information designed to change your entire perspective. Secrets they swore they would carry alone are surfacing because the Tower does not allow anything hidden. The Tower tells me this is not gentle unfolding. It is an eruption that demands immediate attention. Whatever narrative existed before this moment gets rewritten completely, and the new version holds only truth. Structures built on half-truths and careful omissions cannot survive this card. They were never meant to. The Tower strips everything down to its most honest form, leaving only what is authentic standing intact. This card also signals liberation through destruction, meaning what falls apart needed to fall for healing. The exposure coming through that text is not punishment. It is the universe forcing transparency into place. The next card we have is the Three of Swords, and it adds a layer of emotional piercing. The Three of Swords tells me this revelation cuts through pretense, slicing past every comfortable assumption. Pain lives inside this truth, but so does clarity. And sometimes clarity requires a wound to enter. The Three of Swords confirms that heartache has been circling this situation unacknowledged and buried beneath routine. Betrayal or disappointment may surface within what they confess, but the sting carries necessary understanding with it. This card does not appear to destroy. It appears to release pressure that was slowly poisoning everything. The Three of Swords tells me that grief has been a quiet companion throughout this connection. Unspoken sorrows between you two have been accumulating quietly, and the text brings them all forward. What pierces you in their words will also free you, because knowing the full story changes everything. The pain this card carries is transitional, not permanent. It is the doorway between confusion and clarity. Then we have Justice stepping forward, and this card rebalances the entire dynamic with fierce precision. Justice confirms that the truth arriving in that text is accurate, unfiltered, and without any disguise. The scales are being corrected in your favor because you have earned the right to know every detail. Justice tells me that karmic alignment is behind this exposure, not accident and not coincidence at all. How it all started between you carries a backstory you may not have been given until now. The origins of this connection hold information that reshapes your understanding, and Justice insists you receive it. How it will end is also written inside this card, and the ending favors whoever holds the truth. Justice does not reward deception. It rewards the person who stood with integrity through every trial. The reason this text surfaces now is because the timing aligned with exactly what you deserve. Delayed truths arrive when you are strong enough to hold them, and justice confirms you are ready. The cards make one thing undeniably clear today. The game is finished, and exposure replaces every secret. That text carries the full arc of this story from its very beginning to its destined final chapter. Everything hidden is becoming visible, and everything silent is loud, and you stand at the center receiving it. Now, let us turn the focus entirely on you because your spirit has been carrying something heavy. You have been sitting with unanswered questions for longer than anyone around you actually realizes. The silence from their end left you filling in blanks with your own worst case scenarios. Your mind became a courtroom where you played judge and jury, convicting yourself for things you never did. Exhaustion lives in your bones right now. Not the physical kind, but the emotional kind that drains everything. You have been performing strength while privately falling apart. And that contradiction is eating you alive. Patience ran out weeks ago, but you kept pretending it had not, smiling through clenched teeth daily. The version of you that others see is composed and collected, but inside a storm rages without rest. As a water sign ruled by the moon, you absorb emotional currents others cannot even detect, and that depth has been working overtime through this entire chapter. The first card reflecting your energy is the Hermit, and it tells me you withdrew into yourself completely. The Hermit confirms that isolation became your default response, a retreat from the noise into silence. You pulled away from people who care about you, convincing yourself that solitude was safest always. Late nights alone with your thoughts became a ritual, replaying every interaction, searching for what you missed. The Hermit tells me you have been seeking answers internally, digging through memories for clues you overlooked. Your intuition kept whispering that something was off, but you dismissed it because believing felt much easier. You chose trust over suspicion every single time, and now you wonder if that loyalty was misplaced. The Hermit reveals that your solitude is not weakness, it is your spirit preparing for incoming revelation. Clarity has been building inside your quiet moments, even when it felt like nothing was happening. The lantern this card carries represents the truth you already hold buried beneath layers of self-doubt. The next card for your energy is the Four of Swords, and it mirrors your emotional shutdown. The Four of Swords confirms that you forced yourself into numbness just to keep on surviving. Feeling everything at full volume became unbearable. So, you learned to mute your own emotional responses. You stopped reacting outwardly to protect yourself inwardly, and that trade-off cost you genuine peace. The Four of Swords tells me your body has been absorbing stress that your mind refuses to process. Tension sits in your shoulders and your jaw clenches at night, physical proof of what you suppress daily. Rest has not come easily because your subconscious refuses to fully relax, always anticipating the next blow. You sleep but do not recover. You eat but do not nourish, and you smile without meaning it. The Four of Swords reveals that you have been in survival mode, not living but merely enduring. Your emotional reserves are depleted from months of pretending, and your spirit desperately craves honest release. You deserve rest that actually restores you, not the kind where you wake up just as drained. The stillness this card demands is not avoidance. It is preparation for the truth that approaches rapidly. Then we have the Nine of Wands, and this card shows me your battle scars with perfect accuracy. The Nine of Wands confirms that you have been fighting to hold yourself together, bruised but still standing. Every wound you collected in this connection made you more cautious, more guarded, and harder to reach. You built a fortress around your vulnerability, bricking up every entrance because trust became a liability. The Nine of Wands tells me you are tired of defending yourself against situations you never created. Exhaustion from protecting your own peace has left you questioning whether any of it was worthwhile. Your resilience impresses the cards but also concerns them because strength without support eventually breaks. You have been your own anchor through every storm, refusing help even when drowning seemed inevitable. The Nine of Wands reveals that one final test remains before the breakthrough, and this text is it. What arrives in that message will either confirm your suspicions or dissolve them. And either way, you heal. You have earned the right to know the full story. Every chapter, they kept sealed behind locked doors. Your endurance through this entire journey proves that nothing in that text can destroy what you survived. You are standing at the edge of a revelation that changes how you see everything you experience. The cards honor your resilience today, and they confirm your spirit is prepared for whatever comes next. Okay, let us cross over to their side now, because what lives inside them tells the real story. They have been wrestling with a version of themselves, but they are no longer proud of carrying. Guilt has taken permanent residence in their chest, and every breath reminds them of what they hid. The weight of their own deception grew heavier with each passing day, until holding it became unbearable. They never intended for things to spiral this far, but avoidance became a habit they could not shake. Every lie they told required another to protect it, and that chain wrapped tighter around their conscience. Their internal world is fractured right now, split between who they pretended to be and who they are. The mask they wore was convincing, but behind it lived a soul drowning in its own shame. The first card for their energy is the moon, and it reveals the depth of their inner confusion. The moon confirms they have been lost inside their own illusions, unable to tell honesty from habit. Fear controlled every decision they made, fear of being seen for exactly who they are underneath. They constructed a false narrative and committed to it, knowing eventually it would collapse entirely. The moon tells me they experience waves of paranoia, wondering when truth will finally surface. Sleepless nights haunt them because their subconscious refuses to let them forget what they buried. They are terrified of the moment you see them stripped of every story they carefully built. The moon reveals that their deception was never rooted in malice. It grew from cowardice and desperation. They convinced themselves that hiding was protecting you, when really it was protecting their own image. Self-preservation disguised itself as care, and they believed their justification until it stopped working. The next card is the King of Cups reversed, and it exposes their emotional manipulation with precision. The King of Cups reversed tells me they used emotional intelligence as a weapon, not a bridge. They understood your vulnerabilities on an intimate level, and instead of honoring them, they leveraged that knowledge. Charm became a calculated tool in their hands, deployed whenever accountability crept too close for comfort. The King of Cups reversed confirms they suppressed genuine feelings beneath layers of careful performance. Authenticity frightened them because being real always meant rejection, and that gamble felt impossibly dangerous. They projected calm while internally panicking, maintaining their composure as a shield against your intuition. Your ability to read them accurately disturbed their plans because you saw through cracks they sealed. The King of Cups reversed also reveals that beneath the manipulation lives a heart that genuinely felt. Their feelings were never entirely fabricated, but expressing them honestly required a courage they lacked. Between deception and desire, they lost themselves, forgetting where the act ended and reality began. The emotional turmoil inside them is not performance anymore. It is the consequence of living dishonestly. Then we have the Seven of Swords, and this card lays bare every strategy they employed against you. The Seven of Swords confirms calculated moves were made behind your back, designed to maintain control. They operated with selective honesty, sharing enough truth to appear transparent while concealing the crucial parts. Information was rationed deliberately, giving you enough to stay, but never enough to see fully. The Seven of Swords tells me they planned exits before committing to entrances, always keeping one door. Their loyalty was conditional and compartmentalized, offered in portions that served their comfort, not your needs. Regret floods them because the text about to surface contains admissions they can never retract. They know once you read their words, the carefully maintained version of events dissolves permanently. The Seven of Swords reveals they are exhausted from performing, drained by maintaining a false framework. Confession feels terrifying but liberating, and that conflicted relief is what finally pushed them forward. Their motivation for sending this text is not noble. It is survival meeting surrender at last. They reached the point where silence became more painful than exposure, and that shift changed everything. Everything they concealed demands release, and their spirit can no longer contain what their mouth refused. The cards confirm their inner world is in upheaval, torn between fear of loss and need for truth. So, let us get into what they are actually doing right now, because real movement is underway. The talking phase inside their head is over, and their hands are already typing what needs saying. Decisions that sat dormant for months have activated, and the direction points directly at you. They are no longer debating whether to come clean. That debate ended, and action replaced every excuse. The text being composed carries weight they have never put into words before, raw and fully unfiltered. Draft after draft has been written and deleted, but this final version stays because it holds everything. Their behavior in the coming days will look drastically different from anything you witnessed before. Silence is being traded for complete transparency, and that exchange starts the moment their message reaches you. The first card for their actions is the Wheel of Fortune, and it signals a massive turning point. The Wheel of Fortune confirms that fate is accelerating this exposure, removing every option to stay hidden. Circumstances beyond their control are forcing their hand, and the universe left no room to retreat. External events triggered this confession, meaning something happened recently that made hiding impossible any longer. The Wheel of Fortune tells me the timing of this text is not random. It is cosmically orchestrated. Forces larger than both of you are rotating this situation into its correct position, and it locks soon. The cycle of secrecy officially ends here, and a brand new chapter of honesty begins in its place. The wheel spins toward resolution, whether they resist or cooperate, and they chose to cooperate this time. Their next move involves reaching out with raw vulnerability, something you have never received from them. The contact coming your way carries a different tone entirely, stripped of charm and loaded with confession. Expect communication that feels urgent and unpolished, because this is not a rehearsed performance anymore. The Wheel of Fortune confirms the shift is permanent and the dynamic between you never returns to before. The next card is the Knight of Swords, and this one charges forward with aggressive determination. The Knight of Swords tells me they are moving fast, cutting through their own hesitation with precision. Speed defines their approach now because every hour of continued silence feels like heavier betrayal. They are not easing into this gently. They are arriving with blunt force and complete honesty. The Knight of Swords confirms that the text will arrive sooner than you anticipate, possibly within days. No more waiting for the right moment because the Knight does not calculate timing. He simply acts. Their delivery will be direct and sharp, leaving no ambiguity about what happened or why they hid. The Knight of Swords shows me they have mentally committed to laying every card on the table. Details you never asked for will be volunteered because half-truths no longer satisfy their conscience. Names and dates and specifics fill what they send, creating a timeline you can verify. The Knight signals that follow-up conversations happen rapidly after the initial text lands with you. They are prepared to answer whatever you ask because the decision to be honest is final. Then we have the Eight of Pentacles, and this card reveals the careful construction behind their confession. The Eight of Pentacles tells me they crafted this message with painstaking attention to every detail. Every word was chosen deliberately not to manipulate, but to ensure accuracy in what they share. They revised obsessively because getting this right matters more to them than getting it over with. The Eight of Pentacles confirms that effort is being invested into rebuilding, not just in confessing. Plans are forming behind the confession itself. Tangible steps toward proving their sincerity through repeated action. They are preparing to demonstrate change through consistent behavior, not through a single dramatic revelation alone. The groundwork being laid involves adjustments to their daily patterns, restructuring habits that enabled the deception. The Eight of Pentacles shows dedication to earning back what they damaged brick by brick, day by day. Their actions after the text will speak louder than the confession itself. And those actions begin immediately. The cards confirm movement is not approaching. It has already started and it accelerates from here. What reaches you next carries the full weight of their decision and nothing about it can be undone. Now let us dig into what they will never willingly speak aloud. The confessions buried underneath. Truths sit inside their ribcage that they swore would die with them long before reaching any daylight. The words they rehearse at 3:0 the morning privately are the ones that haunt them most. Every unsent message saved in their drafts reads like a love letter wrapped inside an apology. What they refuse to verbalize is not casual regret. It is a confession so heavy it bends them. They carry admissions that would alter how you see every moment shared if spoken out loud. The version of events you believed was edited carefully, and the uncut footage lives only in their mind. Chapters you were never shown contain details that rewrite the entire narrative from its very first page. The first card exposing their secrets is the devil, and it drags their darkest admissions into view. The devil confirms they developed a fixation on your attention, a dependency they masked as casual interest. Their devotion was never balanced. It consumed rational thought and hijacked their entire focus. They craved your presence the way a habit takes hold, knowing it controlled them, but unable to release it. The devil tells me their confession is that they manipulated situations to keep you close deliberately. Scenarios were carefully engineered to create dependency. Moments that felt organic were sometimes arranged beforehand. They confessed that jealousy drove decisions you never questioned. Moves designed to keep your attention close to them. The possessiveness they hid ran deeper than surface attraction. It bordered on something territorial and consuming. The devil reveals they compared every connection to yours, and nothing else survived that comparison. Relationships alongside yours were hollow performances kept alive only to disguise their fixation on you. Their shame is that they recognized the toxicity early, acknowledged it privately, and chose it anyway. Awareness did not produce any real change. It only produced better camouflage and sophisticated concealment methods. The next card is the Six of Cups, and it uncovers a confession rooted deep inside their past. The Six of Cups tells me their attachment mirrors a childhood wound, unresolved and still raw. They never told you that you resemble an emotional blueprint chased relentlessly since their adolescence. Patterns from their earliest bonds replayed through you, and they recognized it but never disclosed it. The Six of Cups reveals they idealized you through a lens of nostalgia, not always reality. The version of you they clung to was partially constructed from old longings they never properly healed. Their hidden confession is that losing you triggers the same abandonment they experienced as a younger soul. The fear is not just about you specifically. It is about reliving a wound that never fully closed. The Six of Cups shows me they romanticize the beginning of your connection obsessively and privately. Those early moments replay on a loop in their mind, polished into a mythology they worship silently. They confess the origin story between you hold sacred weight and exposing it feels like betrayal. Revealing how it started means shattering the version they perfected, and that destruction terrifies them. Then we have the Queen of Wands, and she reveals the confession they guard with the fiercest grip. The Queen of Wands tells me they are secretly intimidated by your power even though they hide it. Your strength unsettles them because it reflects everything they pretend to be but genuinely are not. The confidence you carry naturally is something they construct artificially, and that gap shames them privately. The Queen of Wands confirms they confess silently that you outgrew them long before either one noticed. Their hidden truth is that they know you deserve more honesty, more clarity, and more authentic devotion. The deepest confession beneath it all is that they are terrified you will not offer forgiveness. Forgiveness feels too generous for what they concealed, and they expect rejection, not mercy. They secretly hope the exposure earns them another chance, even while believing they already lost that right. The contradiction between hope and guilt creates a war inside them that neither side is currently winning. Their final unspoken truth is that every version of their future includes you, even the ones you leave. The cards confirm their hidden world is collapsing inward, and what spills out next changes everything. Okay, let us see what the near future holds, because the cards are painting a vivid picture. The timeline ahead carries resolution that you have been craving, and it arrives faster than you expect. What unfolds next is not more confusion or waiting. It is direct, undeniable clarity landing in your lap. The exposure text reaches you within a very short window, and when it does, everything finally makes sense. The first card for your near future is the Star, and she brings healing after the storm. The Star confirms that peace follows the disruption, and what felt chaotic settles into something you understand. After the initial shock of their confession fades, a deep calm washes over you unexpectedly. The star tells me that hope returns stronger than before, rebuilt on truth instead of manufactured illusion. Clarity in the near future allows you to see the full picture without filters and without distortion. The star promises that the version of events revealed in their text actually sets you emotionally free. Healing accelerates once the truth is fully in your hands because uncertainty was the real wound. The next card is the Ace of Pentacles, and it signals a brand new foundation being offered. The Ace of Pentacles tells me a fresh opportunity emerges from the wreckage, something stable and concrete. Whether this manifests as reconciliation or liberation depends on your choice, but either path leads toward growth. New ground is forming beneath your feet, solid and honest in ways the previous foundation never was. The Ace of Pentacles confirms that material or practical shifts accompany the emotional ones, aligning your life. Now, for the advice the cards are offering, because wisdom matters as much as revelation does. The Two of Cups arrives as your guidance card, and it speaks directly to relational balance. The Two of Cups advises you to lead with discernment, not with anger when that text arrives. Read their words with an open mind, but a protected heart, absorbing truth without absorbing toxicity. Respond only when you have fully processed what they shared, not in the heat of initial reaction. The Two of Cups tells you that balanced communication determines whether this exposure destroys or rebuilds. Give yourself permission to feel every emotion that surfaces without judging yourself for any of them. Protect your peace fiercely during this transition and surround yourself with people who anchor your stability. Your power lives in how you respond to their truth, not in whether their truth hurts you. The Two of Cups confirms that grace under pressure becomes your greatest weapon and your deepest healing tool. Now, let me bring this entire reading together because the message today carried extraordinary weight. The message was this: game over, and you are about to receive an exposing text revealing everything. The Tower confirmed sudden revelation, dismantling every illusion, and the Three of Swords pierced through pretense. Justice rebalanced the scales in your favor, ensuring the truth arriving is accurate and fully deserved. The Hermit showed your withdrawal into protective solitude, and the Four of Swords mirrored your emotional shutdown. The Nine of Wands honored your resilience, standing bruised but unbroken through every test they created. The Moon exposed their inner confusion and deception, while the King of Cups reversed revealed their manipulation. The Seven of Swords laid bare their calculated strategies, confirming that selective honesty defined their approach. The Wheel of Fortune accelerated the timeline of exposure, and the Knight of Swords confirmed swift, decisive action. The Devil uncovered their consuming attachment, and the Six of Cups traced it back to childhood wounds. Every single card validated the same truth: the game is finished, and the full story reaches you now. This reading carried immense depth and emotional gravity, and I honored every layer that surfaced today. You are stronger than what they hid from you, and the truth only confirms what you already survived. Trust your intuition moving forward because it was right about everything long before the cards confirmed it. Hold your head high knowing you earned this clarity through patience and resilience that never broke. Thank you so much for sitting with me through this today. Your presence means more than you know. If this reading spoke to your soul today, please like and subscribe and share it with a friend. I am sending you love and healing light, and I will see you in the next one.